Good evening, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about circles. To start, the standard form of the equation of a circle, given radius r and center is at hk, where h and k are numbers. The equation is x minus your h value squared plus y minus your k value squared equals radius squared. Now, this is an equation that you will have to memorize, but it shouldn't be too much of a memorization issue since your h value deals with the x part of your point and it groups it together, if that makes any sense. Okay, for our examples, we have our circle x minus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 16. They want to know what the center is. Now, if you look at your equation for a circle, you're taking x and you're subtracting whatever your h value is. So in this case, we have x minus our h value, in this case, is going to be 3. All right, there we go. Now, the second part here, you notice that it says y plus 2 squared. The formula up top here says it's y minus our k value. So how would you end up with a plus here? Hopefully we can figure out that if we subtract a negative 2, we would end up with a plus 2. So it ends up being y minus k would be a negative 2. So our point in our circle is going to be negative 2, and that's how they end up with the plus inside that part. So the radius, again, remembering that in our formula it's radius squared, we need to take the square root of 16. So in this case, our radius for our circle is 4. To graph our circle, we need to start with our center at 3, negative 2. And radius 4 means I can go left, right, up, down, any single direction 4. But in this case, we're going to deal with going up, down, left, and right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, and 4. And when we do this and connect these, we should end up with a circle and not any sort of diamond shape. So try your best with drawing your circle based off of those points. Again, it's not going to be the most perfect circle, but it should not look like a diamond either. Okay, for number 2, they want you to find the equation of your circle. In order to do that, we need center and radius of a circle because those are the two components that make up our equation. So our center is at 2, negative 5, and our radius, if we count up, down, left, and right, we should figure out that our radius is 3 because radius meaning from the center to the circle, we can count 3 in every single direction. So when we plug this back into the formula, we have x minus, in this case our h is 2, squared, plus y minus, k would be a negative 5, and if we minus a negative, really we're just adding 5 squared, and our radius squared, 3 squared is 9. So that right there would be our equation of the circle. Okay, continuing through this. The general form for the equation of a circle is found by squaring the binomials and arranging the term in proper order. So your standard general equation for your circle is going to be ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e equals 0. Key here again, similar with quadratics, equals 0. So squaring a binomial, in this case we have two binomials for this example. We have x minus 3 and we have y plus 2. What does it mean to square something? And we've talked about this numerous times. What it means is we're going to take it and write it twice. So x minus 3 squared is just x minus 3 times x minus 3. Y minus 2 squared is y plus 2 times y plus 2. Okay, from here, we need to FOIL this out. So x times x gives us our x squared. If we multiply the middle two pieces together, we get a negative 3x and a negative 3x, which together gives us negative 6x. And a negative 3 times a negative 3 is a plus 9. Doing the same thing for the second part, we get y squared, 2y, and 2y is 4y, plus 2 times 2 is 4, equals our 16. Now again, has to equal to 0, so we're going to have to subtract our 16 over. Now, arranging it how it's been written here, we have our x squared, then we have our y squared. Our x term will come next, so minus 6x, then our y term plus 4y, plus our constant, which we have 9 plus 4 minus 16, which is going to give us a minus 3, and then equal to 0. And that right there is the equation in general form. Okay, moving on. For this next part of the example, it has us completing the square. I'm going to go through this part actually in class, so I'm going to skip through this example and go on to example 2. Still dealing with circles. It says to write the equation of the circle given our center and a point on the circle. So if we can look at and think about what this actually means, we have a center at 4, 2. So that right there, whoops, 4, 2, let's try this again. That right there is our center. A point at 3, 2 is a point, I don't know why it keeps doing that, is a point on the circle. So if I were to draw this, the circle looks like that. So our radius, based on what they give us, is 1. So going back and plugging it into our equation of a circle, our equation is x minus h, in this case 4, squared, plus y minus k, in our case is 2, squared, equals, our radius is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So that right there will be our equation for our circle. Now, moving on from here, we're going to add one more example to our notes, and I'm going to call this example 3. Given center at 613 and the point (1,1) lies on the circle. Okay, so if we were to graph this, we go over 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So our center is right here, passes through the point 1, 1 on our circle. So we could sketch a graph. Now, when we're doing this, we're talking about this diagonal distance being our radius. But based on our graph, we can't tell exactly the distance here. So we have to use what we know. I know the vertical and horizontal distance in order to get to that point. The vertical distance is 12. The horizontal distance, if we count, is 5. And right here we have a right triangle. This being our radius, our hypotenuse being our radius. So in order to figure out the length of our hypotenuse, we actually have to use the Pythagorean theorem in order to figure out the rest of this problem. So we have radius squared equals a squared plus b squared. In this case is 5 and 12. 5 squared is 25 plus 144. When we add those, we get 169. To get r by itself, we need to take the square root. So we get r equals 13. So to write the standard form of this circle, the equation of this circle, again, we have our formula, x minus our x term, dealing with the center, x minus 6 squared, plus y minus 13 squared equals radius, we figured out, is 13 here. 13 squared is 169. So that right there would be the formula for the equation of this specific circle. Okay, if you have any questions, please make sure you jot them down and come in with questions tomorrow. We will finish up example 1, and I will go through that part in more detail because it's a little bit tougher. Have